What is going on, everyone? All right, wipe your tears. It's time to get back and ready to go to work. The Houston Texans, now that they're in the off season, we're going to look at free agency and take a look at guys that could definitely help them win some games, could help them in the playoffs. When you are looking at free agents this year for the Houston Texans, first of all, Houston is now a destination for anyone who wants a ring. This is what D'Amico Ryans told Cody Stutes today. Seeing CJ, a lot of people probably want to play here in Houston. D'Amico Ryans on free agents. He said he feels like the Texans have what players will want. And when you have a quarterback like CJ Stroud, when you have a head coach like D'Amico Ryans, players should be lined up and knocking on the door to come play for the red, white, and blue. Now, the Houston Texans will have roughly around $70 million to mess around with in the offseason, and they also have all three of their first picks, their first round, their second round, and their third round. The Houston Texans are going to have more than enough ammo to make this roster a championship roster. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 713 Houston Sportcast. I am your host, Ruben Calvillo. Like I said, if you thought the content was going to stop, it is only going to ramp up. The off season is where I like to do some work. Welcome to the 713 Houston Sportcast. I am your host, Ruben Calvillo. I drop daily Houston Texans content, so make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok for the latest news, rumors, and updates. And if you guys are new here, trying to hit 10K subscribers by the end of this season, please help me get there, and thank you all so much for watching today's episode. The first player we're going to talk about and should have everyone excited is wide receiver Mike Evans. If Nick Caserio goes out there and get Mike Evans, this screams win now move. This screams I am trying to get to a Super Bowl. Mike Evans is a Hall of Fame wide receiver, ladies and gentlemen. The year he just had with Tampa Bay, 79 catches, 1,256 yards, 13 touchdowns, an absolute weapon. Once again, another 1,000-yard season for Mike Evans. He just continues to add to his Hall of Fame career, has been in the playoffs, won himself a Super Bowl. What more does Mike Evans need to do in this league to solidify himself as one of the greatest wide receivers to ever do it? Now, let's look at what PFF has to say about Mike Evans. Another starting quarterback in Tampa Bay, another 1,000-yard season from Mike Evans. The record set in 10 straight seasons to start a career with 1,000-plus yards is one thing, but an 83.9 receiving grade with double-digit touchdowns for the third time in 4 years is extraordinary. Evans' free agency will be tricky and has a wide range of outcomes. With nagging soft tissue injuries seemingly bothering him for years now, there could also be a sticker shock with recent outcomes on 30-plus-year-old receivers. Nonetheless, there is no reason he should ask for less than the recent crop of players, including Davante Adams, who effectively signed a 3-year, $67.7 million contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, PFF, they have Mike Evans at a projected 3-year, $69 million contract with $52.5 million guaranteed and $23 million a year for Mike Evans. This is the price you are going to have to pay for a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Now, think how dangerous this Houston Texan offense becomes with Mike Evans. You get your veteran wide receiver on offense, but a veteran who could still produce and produce all-pro numbers. Imagine a wide receiving core of Mike Evans, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell. You do that, we are going to start the CJ Stroud MVP campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think about the Houston Texans going out there and getting Mike Evans. The second player that we are going to be talking about is free agent running back Saquan Barkley from the New York Giants. Now, this is what D'Amico Ryans said today on what needs to be improved for next year. The running game will be significant for us to improve on, D'Amico Ryans said when asked about improving the rushing attack. This year, the Houston Texans rushing attack was piss poor. Only 3 100-yard games all year. We thought it was going to be the Dameon Pierce show. It wasn't. Devin Singletary, who you signed in the offseason to be your backup running back, he ended up being your starter, almost 900 yards, and started the last 2 months of the season, including the playoffs. With Saquon Barkley, I honestly believe he could transform this Houston Texan offense. We've seen him take over games. We've seen him show that superstar play on the field. And just imagine how dangerous this Houston Texan offense will be with a dominant run game. Now, Saquon Barkley, there's always a matter of health. He played 14 games this year for the G-Men, 962 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns through the air, 41 receptions, 280 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley is an offense in himself, ladies and gentlemen. This is what PFF had to say about Saquon. Barkley held out for a short period this past offseason before returning to play on his franchise tag plus a few incentives that he had close to zero chance of earning. Unfortunately for him, the Giants season was an abject disaster from the start, that is until Tommy Cutlets became America's quarterback for a few weeks. Barkley is still capable of breaking off explosive rush at any moment and made several highlight reel catches in 2023, including a real route touchdown that ended with a dive for the pylon in week 2 against the Arizona Cardinals. There's no doubt Barkley's highs are as high as any running back in the game. But the position market is a tricky landscape to navigate in 2024, especially with his mixed extended time in 3 out of the past 4 seasons. The good news for Barkley and all free agent running backs this year is that the 2024 running back draft class is not perceived to be strong. Now, PFF has his projected contract as a 2-year, $22 million deal, 15 mil guaranteed, and he's going to get around $11 million a year. I think that would be great for the Houston Texans. Go out there and get a dynamic running back who could just transform this Houston Texan offense. And think about how much deadly CJ Stroud will be when the threat and fear of the Russian attack is coming from someone like Saquon Barkley. Man, that will be a great addition for this Houston Texan offense. Third player we're going to be talking about just destroyed the Houston Texans in the playoffs, and that is defensive lineman Justin Mattock from the Baltimore Ravens. Very young, 26 years old. Now, with Justin, you are going to have to throw the bag at him. You might have to give him a blank check. 13 sacks on the year, 12 tackles for loss, 33 quarterback hits. This was his best season so far in the NFL. And look at his growth as a young player. 1 sack in year 1, 2 sacks in year 2, 5.5 sacks in year 3, 13 sacks in year 4. You see the constant growth. And when you look at this Houston Texans defense, imagine how dangerous it is when you add Justin Mattock in the middle. Now, this is what PFF had to say about Justin. Mattock has a strong case for being the player to earn himself the most money in 2023 with at least a half a sack in 13 of 17 games this season. That is game-changing. Mattock more than doubled his prior season high. He's also exactly doubled his total pressure output. His effort and intensity on backside pursuit plays have always been there, and now an improved arsenal of moves with a more explosive first step has Mattock set to cash in big time. This would be a huge signing for the Houston Texans defense. PFF has his projected contract at 4 years, $92 million, $60.25 million guaranteed, and an average salary of $23 million a year for Justin Mattock. You go ahead and sign me up. You make this defense one of the best in the NFL. We already saw what DeMeco Ryans could do. Imagine adding in Mattock, who's still, like I mentioned earlier, 26 years old. He's about to enter the prime of his career. DeMeco Ryans will make him a little bit better because Justin Mattock is honestly, he's already there, ladies and gentlemen. And watch this defense just transform into one of the best in the NFL. Justin Mattock is a player you go out there and sign when you're trying to make the Super Bowl. That would be a home run get for them.